Welcome back to Matt's Pickleball Podcast. This is episode 21, and this week we're diving deep into foam core mastery. I've been testing paddles that represent opposite ends of the foam core spectrum, the Ronbus Refoam series and the Selkirk Boomstik. One prioritizes control and customization at an more accessible price point. The other chases premium power with cutting-edge tech and a very premium price tag to match. Plus, I've got the Thrive Fury, well, not with me because a friend took it, a hybrid that caught my attention from the first session with its embedded throat weighting and lightning fast handling that somehow delivers serious serve speed. The J2NF long handle, which might be the best full foam core paddle of 2025, well, at least so far. The Pickleball Apes Harmony series that dropped a week or two ago with a refined Gen 3 build that feels surprisingly close to a foam core. The Basalt Fiber Revolin Torch lineup. The Sypik Triton 3 Pro that some people are calling a Perseus knockoff. The common thread here, each of these paddles takes a different approach to solving the same problem. How to deliver power, control, and consistency without compromise. Some nail it, others might miss that mark. Quick reminder, you can catch this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And a big thanks to Bodhi Pickleball for sponsoring today's episode. They make premium overgrips, edge tape, paddle weights, and accessories designed to fine-tune your setup. If you're looking to customize your paddle setup with any accessory, go to bodhipickleball.com and use code MPB to save 15% at checkout. Before we get into the paddles, I want to share a quick update on PB Vision, the game analysis tool I've been using to break down my match footage. This thing has completely changed how I practice and improve. And so here's how it works. I record my matches with a camera that captures all four corners of the court, upload the video to PB Vision, and about 20 minutes later, I get a fully analyzed breakdown of the entire match. It cuts out all of the dead time and organizes everything into chapters: longest rally, first firefight at the kitchen, poaches, earnings, ATPs. Everything's there without scrubbing through the footage. The stats are detailed too: serve and return accuracy, court coverage heat maps, shot consistency, serve speed, rally length averages. It tracks third shots, fifth shots, drops, drives, volleys, dinks, and how each one succeeds. I've caught habits I didn't even realize I had, like always returning to the same spot or keeping my paddle too low at the wrong times. If you've never watched your own gameplay or analyzed it, it's eye-opening. You start to see patterns that make your practice time way more focused. Also, one other thing I want to call attention to is the paddle finder tool at mattspickleball.com. I've just now added a chatbot, and this chatbot is like a ChatGPT chatbot. You can have a discussion with it, share with it what you're looking for in a paddle, and it will ask you questions back to try to dial in a paddle recommendation just for you. Check it out at mattspickleball.com. And if you've got questions about anything we talk about here today, hit me up on Instagram at mattspickleball.com, drop into Discord, shoot me an email, or just comment down this video. I read all of the comments and I try to respond to every single one of them. So let's start with the Ronbus Refoam series, their first full foam core line that ditches the internal carbon fiber chassis known as the Fire Core from the Ripple in favor of a single 14mm block of dense microcellular polypropylene foam. Right here. This lineup includes two new shapes, the elongated R114 and the hybrid R414, and both use raw Torii T700 carbon faces and aim to deliver a more predictable, stable response than the Ripple, with middle-of-the-road power that still lets you pressure with pace. The MPP foam uses supercritical foaming to create smaller, more uniform cells than EPP or EVA. That tighter structure improves strength to weight ratio and resists deformation over time. Unlike EPP, which you really can't compress with your fingers, you can actually compress MPP, so it's materially softer but structurally more resilient. Inside the core, Ronbus embedded 6 3D carbon lattice segments, lower density foam blocks wrapped in carbon fiber grids, positioned around the perimeter to add stability near a sweet spot without creating dead zones. My R114 test unit weighed 7.81 ounces static with a swing weight of 114.4 and a twist weight of 6.15. The R414 came in at 7.89 ounces, swing weight of 111.15, twist weight at 6.45. That extra face width on the hybrid shifts more mass outward, making it more forgiving despite being fractionally lighter to swing. The first thing you notice is the feel. Contact is plush yet firm, dense but not hollow. The ball stays on the face long enough to shape your shot, but the rebound is clean. No fighting float or launch angle issues on faster swings. From the baseline, both shapes deliver enough pace to pressure when you accelerate, but they won't hand you easy depth on lazy swings. You don't get free power here like you do on the Ripple. The R114's extra length gives you more leverage on full swings, while the R414 trades that for a wider contact zone that's a bit easier to square up in quick exchanges. In the soft game, the dwell time from the MPP core stands out. Resets drop in with minimal effort, and directional control is easy to manage when you're taking pace off. The face holds its line well on dinks and drops. It's lively with minimal drop-off when you miss the center. At the kitchen, both shapes stay stable in hand battles. The R414's higher twist weight makes it a bit more forgiving on off-center contact, while the R114 is a bit more snappy on pop. Against the Ripple, the Refoam is the calmer sibling. Ripple plays like a loaded spring, explosive but unforgiving if your touch is even the slightest bit off. Refoam feels like traction control. Resets are easier, pop is moderated, and you can shape shots without constantly worrying about overcooking them. Compared to Carbon's True Foam, the difference is in dwell quality. True Foam holds the ball longer and flexes more, but can feel elastic under pressure. Refoam's dwell is dense and stable, quick to compress and return, making it more predictable in speed-ups and counters. At $199 retail, $179 with code MPB, the Refoam comes in about $80 less than the Ripple. You're not getting Ripple-level firepower, but you are getting a refined, stable foam experience that can be tailored to your liking. For players who want control without going overly soft, or forgiveness without getting sluggish, and a price that's reasonable for foam core tech, it's worth a serious look. Next up is the Selkirk Boomstik, a $333 power paddle that promises serious pace while keeping shots more stable and on target. This is a full foam core design with 3 key technologies: the Boom Core foam system, Infinigate surface coating, and MOI, moment of inertia, tuning system with fixed side weights. The core uses what Selkirk calls their Boom Core system, a foam center with an EVA power ring around the edges. Think foam donut. Different foam densities working together for consistent energy return without the dead spots traditional cores can develop over time. The Infinigate surface coats the carbon fiber face with a textured spray that's supposed to grab the ball better than raw carbon and maintain that texture 3 times longer before wearing smooth. Those red side weights are the MOI tuning system mounted right on the edge guard to push mass away from the center. When you hit off center, the paddle face wants to twist. More weight at the edges means more resistance to that twisting, so mishits stay more on target. I measured the paddle with and without those weights, and with them installed, my elongated test unit came in at 8.22 ounces static, swing weight at 117.15, and twist weight at 6.65. Remove the 15-gram weights on the sides, and you drop to 7.67 ounces. Swing weight goes down to 107.35, and twist weight down to 5.25. That's massive differences in stability and swing feel, evidence the system actually works. You can check out the full performance numbers in my detailed review, but on court, this thing hits hard when you want it to. For a power paddle, the ball stays on the face longer than expected, giving you more control over shot placement. Contact feels dense and solid without being mushy or overly bouncy, and yes, it's loud. That deep, low-frequency boom is very distinctive. Power delivery seems to be linear. The harder you swing, the more pace you get, but there's no sudden trampoline effect at moderate speeds. Your drives carry well while compact counters stay controlled. The MOI weights do their job. When you miss hit or get jammed on a fast volley, the face doesn't twist like most paddles. Your blocks and counters stay playable instead of sailing wide. But here's my honest take. It's hard to recommend this paddle at $333, not because it doesn't play well. It plays very, very well. The stability is impressive, power delivery is solid, and the Infinigate surface seems to be holding up over time. So the performance is absolutely there, but is the value? That's up to you at $333. Now let's talk about the Thrive Fury, which I don't have in front of me because, again, my friend took it. It's a paddle that impressed me right out of the gate and joins a short list that caught my attention in the first session. This is Thrive's newest hybrid shape paddle at $199, marketed as a Gen 3.5, but really just a well-executed Gen 3 with smart design tweaks. The 15.5mm polypropylene honeycomb core uses TPE, thermoplastic elastomer, instead of EVA foam in the perimeter injection. TPE is more resilient, holds its shape better in cold weather, and resists compression better than standard foam. The result is better edge stability and more consistent energy transfer. The face uses a carbon fiberglass carbon layup, stiff outer carbon layers for stability, with a fiberglass mid layer that adds firmness and pop. The key addition is embedded throat weighting. 3 grams of mass on each side of the handle built in during construction. I x-rayed my test unit to confirm they're actually there, and they are. In play, they keep the paddle tracking straight through counters and off-center volleys instead of twisting. My test unit came in at 8.06 ounces static with a swing weight of 111.8, well below the hybrid average. Twist weight measured 6.45, but the embedded throat weighting gives it more real-world stability than that number suggests. The first thing you notice is how quickly it comes through the air. That low swing weight shows up immediately in flicks, counters, and overheads. It's fast without feeling hollow or unstable. Power is real here. You don't have to overswing, but when you do accelerate through the ball, the rebound ramps up noticeably. That scaling power is different from stiffer face paddles that give the same output regardless of swing speed. Soft shots don't fly long and touch play stays manageable. It has less hold than the YOLO Pro 416mm, but it's still very playable for resets and short drops. At $180 with code MPB, it's competing directly with the Alpha Pro Power and J2NF. But what sets it apart is that it plays fast and solid in stock form, with stability and versatility that's rare in sub $200 paddles. Alright, well, now let's move on and talk about what might be the best full foam core paddle of 2025. Well, at least so far. I've been hitting with the Honolulu Pickleball J2NF long handle for about 2 weeks now, and honestly, the first thing that jumped out wasn't the longer grip, it's how much whippier this thing plays compared to the original J2NF. How did they make it better? They kept the hybrid J2NF head shape but reduced the flare up the neck, so it seems like there's actually a bit more surface space here. So it seems like they pulled some of the weight out of the head and moved it down low, and you can feel those changes immediately. The swing weight dropped from around 112 on the original down to 108 on this long handle version. That doesn't sound like much on paper, but on court, it's the difference between a paddle that plows through contact versus one that wants to whip around faster. The pop is definitely still there, more than enough to catch people off guard with quick counterattacks at the kitchen, but the contact plays quicker, less dense. Some people are going to love that lighter, more maneuverable feel, myself included. Others might miss that slightly heavier, stable presence of the original J2NF. Now about that longer handle. It actually measures closer to 5.75 inches despite being marketed as 6, but there's still plenty of room for 200 backhands. If you're someone who likes to choke up and slide your hands around during points, or if you rely heavily on your TUI, this makes a lot of sense. The trade-off is some stock stability. I did notice mishits didn't feel quite as forgiving as they do on the original. But here's what surprised me. I've been playing this completely stock, no weight, no customization, and it's playing very, very well, and I don't want to change a thing. My drive seemed to penetrate, and I can punch with authority in kitchen firefights. The lighter swing weight actually helps me get the paddle around faster in quick exchanges. And there's plenty of room to add weight if you want to personalize it. Spin is solid here, and I'm getting good bite on third shot drops, and I can rely on top spin dinks when I need to. The peel ply surface texture does seem to be doing its job, and the large sweet spot is still there. Control and touch play consistently right out of the box. So is this an upgrade over the original J2NF? No, this is not an upgrade over the original J2NF. It's more of a side grade for players with specific needs. If you don't use a two-handed backhand much, or if you prefer maximum stability right out of the box, stick with the short handle, regular handle. But if you want that extra grip space and like a more maneuverable feel, this could be your paddle. Use code MPB at checkout for a discount. And look, I'm definitely keeping this one in my bag as a lighter, quicker power option when I want to play more aggressively. All right, let's move on and talk about the Pickleball Apes Harmony series. And I'm holding up the Harmony X here. I've got the other shapes just not on the table with me. This is their follow-up to the original Pulse, but it's not a minor tweak. We're looking at a real material upgrade that reshapes how a Gen 3 paddle can feel and perform. While most 2025 launches are chasing power with Gen 4 full foam builds, Harmony stays grounded in Gen 3, but introduces a polyurethane foam insert instead of EVA, fiberglass edge walls, and a raw carbon peel ply across 3 shapes: the V, wide body, S, hybrid, and X, elongated. The construction uses a polypropylene honeycomb core with polyurethane foam laid into the edges and corners. The paddle is thermoformed using a 2-step hot molding process with a welded unibody frame. The PU foam matters. It's supposed to hold up better over time and deliver more energy return than EVA, so you get more pop without turning the paddle into a trampoline. Around the edge, they've reinforced the frame with a fiberglass perimeter wall. That stiffens the chassis and helps prevent edge separation during mishits or high-impact play. The surface is raw carbon fiber with a peel ply texture, no fiberglass in the hitting surface at all. All 3 models fall into a tight static weight range between 7.9 to 8.1 ounces, about a quarter ounce lighter than the Pulse line. That lighter build shows up right away in faster reload speed and reduced arm fatigue during those longer playing sessions. My Harmony S came in at 112.95 swing weight and 6.25 twist weight, maneuverable but stable enough to push pace. The V has the lowest swing weight at 107.3 and highest twist weight at 7.35, making it the most forgiving with faster hand speed. The X came in at 120.5 swing weight, which in the upper territory for me, with a 6.25 twist weight. Built for reach and baseline depth, but trades quickness to get there. The first thing you notice across all three shapes is the feel. It's plush and connected, with a quiet firmness at contact. Not harsh, not mushy, just a controlled, dense response that makes resets and hand battles feel stable. The feedback is clean, the face holds up on mishits, and there's no deadness across the surface. What surprised me most is how much Harmony blurs the lines between Gen 3 and Gen 4. When I first tested these, I assumed they were foam core based on how dense and connected they feel. You don't get the thin, hollow response of typical Gen 3 paddles. Instead, you get a controlled, grounded response with enough pop to compete in speed-ups. I didn't know they were Gen 3 until I got them X-rayed and was pleasantly surprised. Drives come off clean and measured. The S and V give you a quick release that makes it easy to apply pressure without overhitting. The X adds more depth and penetration from the midcourt, but swings heavier and takes more effort to accelerate. Touch play is where the Harmony stands out. Drops, dinks, and resets feel precise. The dwell time is shorter than the Pulse, so the ball doesn't linger, but it sits just long enough to shape your shot. The V shines here with forgiveness and quick hands. The S feels balanced with crisp feedback. The X rewards good timing, but is less forgiving on softer shots. The Harmony line retails for $180, but with code MPB you get 10% off, bringing it down to $162. For that price, you're getting a well-built, consistent all-court paddle that doesn't need break-in and doesn't fall apart over time, at least not yet. It's more affordable than Gen 4 options and plays better than similarly priced Gen 3 paddles. If you value control but still want to play assertively, resetting, rolling, blocking to set up points, Harmony is easy to recommend. Go with the V for forgiveness and quick hands, the S for balance and tunability, or the X for reach and depth. All right, let's move on to the Revolin Torch series. And so I've only got one of them here. I actually have all three, but I've only got one here because I've got a couple friends that took the other two. And they're holding them and won't give them back, which tells you something right there. These basalt fiber paddles have a feel that's different from what most people are used to. More cushioned and plush than standard carbon, especially compared to something crisp like the Paddle Tech builds. The basalt face gives these a softer impact character. When you're dialed in on the sweet spot, there's this pleasant, almost muted contact that doesn't jar your arm. But here's the reality. With these Gen 1 code layer builds, miss the sweet spot or get near the edges and the ball just dies. That's just common. The twist weights running from 5.35 to 6.05 mean off-center hits lose their punch. When you catch the edges, you lose energy transfer and the ball comes off flat and short. The basalt surface grip seems to be excellent when you're centered, but can't overcome that Gen 1 limitation when you're not precise. The reach reminded me of the Perseus in shape, but with some unforgiving characteristics you'd expect from code-layered construction. The Pure models feel quick through transitions, especially the Pure long handle, which swings incredibly light. It's maneuverable for kitchen exchanges, but you need clean contact to generate real pace. These definitely require cleaner ball striking to get the most out of them. Use code MPB for 15% off if you want to try them. All right, moving on. The Sypik Triton Pro 3 caught my attention because I'm hearing a lot of people calling it a Perseus knockoff. But after 3 weeks of testing it head-to-head, that's selling it short. On paper, the specs are remarkably close, both sitting around 116 swing weight, with nearly identical pop and punch volleys, and similar spin production. But the surface texture is night and day. The Triton 3 comes with extremely aggressive grit that literally catches on your clothing, while the Perseus has a much smoother face. That grit translates to more bite and grab on the ball, especially on aggressive topspin dinks, where you're really trying to brush the ball. The Perseus edges it slightly on serve speed, but both paddles deliver serious power on drives and counters. The Triton 3 maintains that plush connected feel you expect from a Gen 3 floating core, while giving you similar power output as the Perseus. The real story here is value. You're getting 95% of the Perseus performance at $230 versus $280. That extra grit gives you more choices on spin shots, even if the RPM difference is marginal. Use code MPB if you can find out where to buy it. I really don't even know. I'm trying to sort it out. Their domestic US distribution seems to be, I'm going to use the word chaotic. But if you can find one, try my code MPB. Should get you 10% off. Looking at all these paddles, what really stands out is how different approaches can solve similar problems. The Thrive Fury delivers that rare combination of quick handling and serious power through smart engineering. That embedded throat weighting really works. At $180 with code MPB, it's competing with paddles that cost significantly more. The J2NF long handle takes the best foam core paddle on the market and makes it even more maneuverable. The Ronbus Refoam offers controlled foam core performance at an accessible price. The Harmony series shows how much a refined Gen 3 build can achieve. It really does blur the line between generations. And while the Boomstik plays extremely well, that $333 price point puts it out of reach for most players when similar performance is available for much less. I've got more reviews coming for the next wave of foam core releases. Plus, I'm testing some upcoming paddles in both the Gen 3 and Gen 4 spaces that I can't talk about right now, but I should have some more details soon. That's it for this episode of the Matt's Pickleball podcast. Thanks for watching or listening to episode 21. I'll see you guys in the next one.